News Radio 840 WHAS. Good Sunday morning. Bob Sokoler, the Louisville Real Estate Show, with you until the top of the hour. Hope it's a good Sunday morning. And with us for this show, we got a great cast of people here. We start with Lee Harris, legal counsel over at Limestone Title and Escrow. You can reach Lee actually on her cell phone if you've got any questions. And agents, she's always available for our questions as well. You can reach her at 649-7964. Also here, my buddy Randy Rocky at Swan Financial. You can reach Randy if you're thinking about getting a home loan. Well, Randy and his people can do it. His number is 645-0736. Lee, I should mention, at Limestone Title and Escrow, they do the closings, which they do a great job. I was just there this week, and yes, I did have another cookie because it was really, but only one. Yep.
Okay.
And then son Greg, who's joining us with his hat in a reverse mode because he's so busy.
Just go. I'm just going all the time.
Doesn't even have time to turn his hat around.
I don't have time to look in the mirror. I got to put my hat on backwards because I'm more aerodynamic this way.
Okay. So, and I'm Bob Sokoler. You can reach me if you're thinking about selling your home this year or next year or beyond. Very simple. All you got to do is give me a call, and we come out, we talk either on phone, Zoom, or in person. And you can reach me anytime on my cell, 376-5483. All right, we go to the questions that come in via our email because we're doing a Zoom show because of COVID still in existence. So, Randy, Dan writes in, this is the lead story this week, the Fed raised short-term interest rates this past Wednesday. What was it, 20.25%?
25
basis point, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So he's wondering, what is that going to do to mortgage rates, and how does it affect mortgage rates?
Well, actually, mortgage rates dropped right after that. Long-term rates, yes, it does affect it some, but there is a point now where I believe with that things are going to start coming down. And the Consumer Price Index on May the 10th, we're going to show with the CPI, it takes in eggs when you buy groceries and all the above, it's going to show a much lower number than May of 2022. May of 2023, the CPI should come way down, and that's when I think rates are going to really start taking a dip. So I think this is things are still expensive, obviously, but I think the inflation is tapering off, and when that happens, now we need to get the housing market really rolling again. It's doing okay, but so I think that's what's going to happen in that scenario.
Okay, good. Well, that's good news.
Yeah.
We mark your calendars. And if it doesn't happen, I'll give you Randy's phone number again. You can reach out. All right. So, Lee,
yes.
Samantha sent us an email. She has a house that she wants to sell, and she had a termite inspection done. Now, we're going to pose this question next week to Brad Lawler over at Home Team, and you'll see why in a second. So she had a termite inspection done in anticipation of listing her home. The termite guy, she says that the only thing he found was one single track tube in the basement leading up from the window and going down 6 inches. So that's all they found on the concrete. And the termite guy says it was not an active track. So Samantha is wondering a couple of things. First of all, can she remove it? How can she remove that track? And will she get into some legal trouble if she does? So Brad hopefully will answer next week. How do you remove it properly? But more importantly, Lee, is Samantha in trouble if she removes, and does any homeowner in trouble if they remove signs of a termite tube or anything else that could be detrimental to a house?
Well, I think you can always, quote unquote, repair something, or as long as you disclose on your form that there was a tube found, the inspector said it was not active and it had been removed, have your inspector review it as well as the buyer. The form that the sellers fill out is a seller disclosure form required by the state, and it asks if there's been any issues with blank and have it, even if it's been corrected. So she can just note there, no active termites found. Buyer obviously can have a termite inspection as well, but yeah, they can fix things, but they just have to disclose it.
Good. That's a good answer for Samantha. And then the question we'll ask next week of Brad is, so how do you actually remove it so there's no signs of it? Because yeah, but of course you're going to have it on the disclosure.
Right.
So
that I don't know.
You're going to also see, and then Brad's going to talk about on the inspection, you're going to see if there's he's going to look for more termite damage than just the tube, because obviously where there's smoke, there might be fire. But if it's just one tube that was noted of an unactive track,
right,
well, it could have been old. right?
Yeah.
But knowing Brad and knowing his team, they're going to make sure that they're looking for other signs of wood rot or wood infestation, all those types of things. So it's one thing if you, oh yeah, I know there's something here in the dirt to remove it. What's the proper way of doing it?
Yeah.
Versus a legal question, which obviously Lee's kind of pointed out that you can make repairs to your own property, but there is a disclosure. So if you try to make the repair and hide that it was there, and
that's
then
a no-no, Samantha.
Right,
Yeah.
and because if we can prove that they were there and that you did pay for a inspection, then you'd be in trouble.
Do you end up in termite jail if that happens?
You end up in jail with a whole lot of termites. It's really not.
Ooh, that's worse than where Weinstein is, maybe. Hey, listen, if you want to hear or see a rebroadcast of this show, we actually upload this to our YouTube channel. To get to it, go to LouisvilleAnswers.com. That's www.LouisvilleAnswers.com. All right, we move on. Randy, Marcia sent us this email saying she is a co-borrower on a mortgage in Louisville, but not on the deed. And yeah, you heard that right. So she's wondering what liability will she have if the house is foreclosed on? Ooh, that's not good. Marcia?
She'll have all the liability.
All of it.
With the other person who is on the actual loan, and unfortunately, she will not have any of the home ownership unless, Lee, you have something that I don't understand. If they're not married, I would assume that she doesn't have any home ownership, just only the
responsibility of paying the
responsibility.
Yeah.
Lee, can you allude to that, or do you?
Yeah, if she's not on the title and she's on the mortgage and the note, then she's responsible for the financial part, but doesn't get any of the benefits of the equity. Or if something goes wrong, she's gonna have it on her credit, or she's gonna have to pay it.
Well, and also now she was married. Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah. No, go ahead. I think you got my train of thought. Go ahead.
Yeah, she was married to this person, then she would have own half of it, right?
Yes, Kentucky has dower and courtesy laws still. It's one of 4 states that still has that. So if you're married, you do have interest in your spouse's property just by the virtue of being married.
Right. So there's no, and just to be clear, even if they go to sell the property and whoever is on the deed, her boyfriend or girlfriend, whoever, they can keep the money that they make and don't have to give her a dime, because unless there's an agreement in place or tenancy in common or whatever, or it's common law. Maybe, I don't know if there's something in common law, but that's a whole nother, slippery slope. So yeah.
That's a great point.
We see it all the time. So people, if you're going to put money in or put your credit on the line, get an agreement that you're going to get something out of it, because we see it all the time where people say, oh, well, I fixed the roof, so I should get. And the other person says, nope, I'm not getting anything.
And listen, don't pull a form off the internet to secure that properly. You need an attorney like Lee Harris or Limestone to put some teeth in it.
Yes,
otherwise, it's
true.
it's
make it binding.
Oh, that's just terrible. I feel for you. All right. Would you say that if all possible, Marcia should marry this other person? Because then she
go to the courthouse quickly.
Yeah. Hey, if you want to see some of the reviews for our Sokoler team, we're really proud of them. I check reviews. I've told you that whenever I go onto Amazon, it's important. So we've got reviews we've been accumulating. You can go to LouisvilleZillow.com, and that's a redirect to the Zillow reviews, or go to LouisvilleGoogle.com. That's a redirect to our Google reviews. All right. So Lee, Jeanette says she listens to us all the time, and she's wondering what happens to a home owned by 2 people after a medical incident. Apparently, Jeanette's mother and her aunt own the home that she's referring to 50-50. She says her aunt recently had a stroke, and that has left her incapacitated and unable to make any sort of legal decisions on her own, and she will be unable to provide input in the upcoming sale of the property. And Jeanette is saying that she did not have any sort of will or living will, so she's wondering, is her mom still able to sell the property? How does that actually work?
Yes, well, that's a good question, and it's a good plug for people to get a will, a healthcare surrogate, a POA, a guardianship, whatever you need before something happens. So probably if no one is a POA and no one is allowed to sign for her, she has to go to the district court and get someone appointed as a guardian for her to sign off on her interests. Maybe there's a POA out there that she signed for someone, but if not, that's the best way to handle it. This house can still be sold, but somebody needs to be signing as her official signatory, which would be appointed by the court. It could be a family member. It could be somebody who's disinterested.
Is that a complicated process, Lee, other than?
Not really. Not really. It's just going to district court, filing a claim for guardianship, and then going before the court. That's what a lot. If you get jury duty, that's what a lot of jury duties are all about.
Well, that's just one part of it. So if it's just a medical issue, what happens if let's say during the contract process, the 50% interest passes away, and you have 50% interest who's there?
Right.
Does it go into probate? Does it have to go through the process?
Then you need to look at the deed. If they are in survivorship, then the property would go solely to the mother, who owns the property with her in survivorship. If they're not in survivorship, then her portion is going to have to be probated. Yes, if she has heirs. Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Got it. If you want to see what sellers have said about us visually, we do have videos of this. You can go to LouisvilleSellersTalk.com. I think we have more than 100 videos. LouisvilleSellersTalk.com. All right, Randy, this is going to be a tough one because I don't know how you get around this question from Rob. He's getting a divorce. He wants to buy the house from his wife, his soon-to-be ex-wife. She is fine with selling it to him, but he's been told he needs to refinance a loan out of her name, and he's currently saying he's got a 2.8% interest rate, and it would mean he'd have to go to, I guess, a 7% interest rate. Is there any workaround to that?
NMLS number 26362. The rates right now, the APR rates in the low sixes, or high fives, depending on the product. But there's not a way around that. No, he's going to have to refinance it in his name and take the higher rate, unfortunately.
Is there a way to assume the loan if he pays?
No,
no way to do that.
No. Yeah. They say you can, but Lee, have you ever seen an assumable loan? Maybe you have.
Years ago, maybe.
Every once in a while, yeah. A long time ago, they were very popular, but haven't seen a lot lately. No.
And our contracts, when you write a buyer purchase contract, it still says assumable as one of the check marks. It's like, let's get with this, our board. Come on.
Would the question be trying to strike a deal that, depending on how amicable the divorce is, right? Paying the wife off the deed perhaps, and being able to keep her credit and paying the house. Continuing to pay
now
the
we go
house
back
off.
to the previous question with having the mortgage in your name, but not the deed.
Well, the question is, I'm sure you could get her off the deed, right? And then she would just have the financial. She'd have to pay her. That's how amicable is it? And see if she was to buy a new. It just gets messy, but hopefully that go. I feel for him going from a 2.8 to a 5 or a 6 would be cause for, hey, can we stay together for, we got 15 years left on the note,
or wait until at least May.
It out.
Randy says the rates are coming down. Wait till May.
Instead of staying together for the kids, now stay together for the mortgage.
Stay together for the rate. You heard it here first.
Could you see?
Harris has coined the new term. Staying together for the rate.
For the mortgage.
What was it? Date the house? What was it? What was the whole thing?
I don't remember. Could you see Rob's soon-to-be ex-wife's divorce attorney getting a proposal that says, okay, you're going to stay on the mortgage, but your name will come off the deed? I don't see that happening at all, no.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, more of your phone calls. Also, we're going to be talking about the 3 recent bank failures and how that could actually impact when you buy and sell a home. It does have some impact. We'll talk a little bit about that. With us here continuing, it's our friend Randy Rocky over at Swan Financial. They do a great job of getting you pre-approved and to the closing table. You can reach Randy at 645-0736. Lee Harris is here, legal counsel, Limestone Title and Escrow, and they do a great job. I was just there this week. And Mike Weber was my closing attorney. He was a great guy.
Wonderful.
He's a friend and a great guy. And you can reach Lee and her folks at 649-7964. Remember to get a cookie over there. And if you're thinking of selling your home now or in the future, whenever, give me a call. We'll come out. I'll come out, talk to you, or we can do it by Zoom or by phone, what the process is, what the home is worth. That way, if I'm there, I can tell you, I do a CMA, it's a competitive market analysis on my computer live, so you're able to see exactly how this all works. And then and see if you want to go and put it on the market. It's free, no obligation for me coming out and talking. 376-5483 is my number, 376-5483. We're back in a moment on News Radio 840 WHAS. News Radio 840 WHAS, Bob Sokoler, the Louisville Real Estate Show. We are back. My thanks to Barbara Corcoran. And folks, I haven't really talked about this, but Greg and I were up to see Barbara, what is it now, 3 weeks ago, Greg? And
yeah.
it was the most incredible experience because this time we're in a car driving, and I do a video. So here's a little.
I like the video. The video is fantastic.
Lee, yes. I don't know if you've seen this yet.
No.
So it is so funny and so entertaining. And you'll have to see it to believe it. So what you do is just send me an email, bob@WeSellLouisville.com, bob@WeSellLouisville.com, and then just say, I want to see the video in the subject line or the Barbara video, and I'll send you a link to it.
Sending it right now.
Yeah, are you sending it right now? Okay, good.
Yep.
Do that. Yeah, do it.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It's one of the best videos I've done.
I agree, and you've done a lot of great videos, but that one is.
And a lot of it was because of Greg. Greg, do you want to reenact the phrase that you used?
No, I'm in the car right now. I can't.
All right,
it was in the moment. You know,
All right. And again, so you got that. You know who's here. My son Greg is here. Obviously, he does our marketing, photography, and so much more. Does a great job. Very proud of him. So one of the things that we wanted to talk about, and again, you can reach me in case I didn't give that number out, 376-5483. That's 376-5483. All right. So there were 3 recent bank failures. Who knows if there's going to be any more? But Randy, the impression I'm getting is because of that failure that we may see mortgage rates actually come down because of the concern over the failures. Do you have a correlation, or should I read off of this report?
I'd like to hear your correlation first.
So the demise of the 3 banks have been sending shockwaves throughout the already fragile economy. It could have an impact on real estate. Silicon Valley Bank failure, along with few other banks, means that the Federal Reserve cannot be so aggressive in raising its short-term interest rates. Well, they were this past Wednesday. They put it up another 25 basis points. And so that the theory, according to Lawrence Yun, who is the chief economist at the National Association of Realtors, he's saying, and I'm quoting here, therefore mortgage rates will decline. Mortgage rates have been steadily rising as we've been tracking in recent weeks, a 30-year fixed loan averaging about 6.73% last week or the week before. That's according to Freddie Mac, and the Fed has been making a series of aggressive rate increases, as we've been talking, short-term increases, which, as we say, have impacted the long-term rate. So the reason, the concept behind this is, according to the National Association of Realtors, is that rates will come down because of the concern that the Fed is not going to be raising the short-term rates as quickly, as increasingly as they have in the past. So you buy that?
I really don't. I think it's more what's going on with inflation.
Okay.
And I really do. I think that inflation is the key indicator right now if they continue to take rates up. And sincerely, what they did wrong is they waited too long to raise rates, and now they're all being over aggressive with it. And employment is going to finally show that it's not rocking like everybody thinks. They did a lot of adjustments, which they're allowed to do in January, which gave false numbers, in my opinion. So now we're going to have an employment issue. And with inflation coming down, though, it's going to be a great recipe for us to have better rates. So I don't think it really has a lot to do with the long.
Yeah, I agree with Randy. I think it's the real numbers are going to be when that CPI index starts to show not just a flattening and a stabilizing, but a real turn towards the other direction. And that's where, if you've been watching any of the Squawk Box or MSNBC, I've been glued to it the past couple of weeks. Is the Fed taking the market out of it, and the market's certainly reacting to the Fed, but the Fed's not reacting to the market. The Fed's reacting to that inflation number specifically. And whatever banks are left in the dust, in my personal opinion, are going to be left in the dust. So when the first question Bob said, do we think more might fail? I think a couple more might domino, depending on, there's some what are the credit default swaps that are getting ready to come due, and there's the debt ceiling issue that's looming. So there's a couple more things we got to get through. But the good news is, and the question I always get from everybody is, how's the housing market? They hear all this stuff, and while it has slowed dramatically in respects to the past couple of years where interest rates were really low, it has stabilized. The good agents are still out there working. There's still business to be had. People still need to move. Jobs are still relocating. People are still moving from big cities to come to Louisville, Kentucky. The question is, again, inventory. And are you in the position to sell and leverage yourself? What do you need to do? And those are the questions you need to start asking yourself and talking to a real estate agent, because rates shouldn't necessarily scare anybody away from having to make a move. It's if it works for you and the timing is right for you is what you should decide, not the rate.
Well, case in point is your wife. Sincerely, she's still doing business. There's on the Sokoler team, almost everybody's still doing business.
Yeah.
And sincerely, when I say it, there's another issue here also, Greg, is that when you can go out now and get a 6-month term treasury backed by the government, a note for 4.99%, there's going to be a lot of deposits that leave the banks, and that's another issue. And now you have all this, you put this all together, and that's why I think the banking industry is going to be somewhat under pressure. And this happened back in 2008, 2009, and really Fannie and Freddie kept rocking. And that's what, the long-term play is they kept going. And now the short term is going to could have some issues. For example, car loans, things of that nature could get a little dicey. Not that they will go away, but that's where you're going to have more issues than the long-term play, which is long-term rates, I should say. All
right. And by the way,
that's what we're watching.
I'm sending you that YouTube link right now, even as we speak, because I can do that. I can do multiple things, even chew gum if I wanted to at the same time.
Multitasker.
Yeah. A reminder, if you are thinking of selling your home, we have a free no-obligation booklet that has hundreds of useful tips. You want a copy? Hey, free of charge. Again, no obligation. Send me an email, bob@wesellouisville.com, and then put selling tips in the subject line, and I will email that right back out to you. All right, you're going to love this one, Lee and Greg. Randy, you may be happy with this question, but this one is definitely up Greg and Lee's alley. Here we go. Jesse writes in. He says, if a drone is flying over my property, and I've already told my neighbor that I do not want the drone to be flying over my property, Jesse wants to know, can he destroy it without legal repercussion?
Can he shoot it down?
Jesse, I'm going to go no on that one.
All right, Lee. Let's say it is, and I'm going to bring some real estate terms in here.
Yeah.
Let's say they shoot not a gun, but like a net. Like on a pole, a net or a pole.
Oh, a net.
Let's say it's flying. Let's say it's flying close to you on your property, right?
Yeah,
it's close enough to scare you. Okay.
Yeah, right.
I would say I own my property. I own the air above my property, I guess, right?
No, I don't think he owns the air.
The land. Down the minimum.
How far above you do you own? Above? Seriously, does anybody know?
Well, it's really that's a great point, because obviously airplanes fly over your property and you can't.
Right.
But you own the air rights and you own the underneath. But how high up?
AKA, I think this would be more of like, listen. If I'm flying my drone over somebody's property and they get it, I'm going to be like, that's probably my fault. And if somebody's doing that and it's close to my house and it looks like it's going to get me, I'm going to take it down.
Well, wait. So
I fly drones.
So let's just answer this question. Does Jesse get into trouble if he takes the drone down?
Well, I thought the word was, can I destroy it? Is that
can he well, okay, yeah. Okay. Can he destroy it? Can he destroy it?
I don't think Jesse can destroy it. I think if it's putting him in danger or his family in danger or upsetting his pets or whatever, he can probably do a nice way of bringing it down and keep it until he has a nice agreement with his neighbor to not bother him anymore.
Oh, hold it ransom.
Well, I mean, just no. But just make an agreement with his
Lee Harris on this radio show just said hold the drone ransom until the agreement is in place.
Usually the agreeable bacon apple pie, Lee Harris said.
Yes, right.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Yeah. All right. Hey, if you want us to come out and help you, I got an easy way. Rather than giving you a phone number, you can go to bobsellmyhome.com. That's bobsellmyhome.com. All right, last question here, Andy. Andre plans to buy a house in the next few months. He'll be looking, get a load of this, for a $450,000 home and trying to get a 30-year fixed mortgage. His parents told Andre, that if he paid an additional $10 a day or approximately $300 a month in mortgage payments, he'll save more than $50,000 in interest over the life of the loan. And he's wondering if he makes that extra $300 a month payment, is there any special procedure to let the bank know to let it go towards the principal and not to just some payment? I think that's a really good question for everybody because all of us are thinking about that, right?
Right. I would just make sure that you make a note of it, or you call. It's harder to make a note now, so it would be better just to call in after it's done and go, okay, that extra, what was it, 300?
$300, yeah, a month, yeah.
$300 a month. I want to make sure that went towards my principal, and then
personally, when I go through when I go through my payment portal, I've had my loan in multiple home service through multiple servicers through multiple banks. I've always had a spot that denotes additional principal. If you want to add additional principal, it denotes it right there. Bada boom, bada bing. And actually, when I moved over to another bank, which I won't name, originally a couple months ago, my banker told me, absolutely do not do that. Do not put that money, put it in the market, to which I laughed at her and said, no, the market is not a guarantee right now. I would not do that. I'd rather put it on my principal and just pay my house down faster. And who was right? It was not the banker. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Greg was right.
Greg was right. All right. Well, we are out of time. This has been a fascinating, very quick show.
Yes.
My thanks to Randy Rocky at Swan Financial. You can reach Randy, 6450736. Also, Lee Harris, legal counsel, Limestone Title and Escrow. They do a great job at closings. And by the way, you can pick the closing attorney you want. You can call Lee anytime on her cell phone. And again, all of us agents, remember Lee is a great person to have a question answered, and she tries to do a great job for all agents. 649-7964. My thanks to my son, Greg, who does all of our marketing, photography, and so much more, does a great job. And you can reach me, Bob Sokoler, anytime, day or night, weekends as well. If you're looking to think about buying a home, we've got 10 agents ready to help you. If you're thinking about selling, call me, and I'll come out and we can talk about what the plan might be, what the market looks like, what the home is worth, and then go from there. You can reach me at 376-5483. That's it. We'll see you next Sunday on News Radio 840 WHAS.